its airstrip before the Japanese. Ill-prepared and poorly led, some would crack and run from the enemy. But most would find the courage that would place the name Kokoda into Australian history. It was a war of nerves with an invisible enemy. The Japanese approached with cunning and stealth, rarely seen until it was too late.
One of my boys got shot fair between the eyes, right alongside me. It was a perfect shot. Buggers. They used to attack us by screaming out. Terrible to be afraid. They're the brave ones that are afraid and still keep going. That's what they did, you know. Scared, bloody stiff, and still kept going. They were so young. They were so young. I love them all.
The militiamen fought desperately, but couldn't hold Kokoda. Outnumbered 10 to 1, they retreated through the jungle in a courageous and exhausting fighting withdrawal. Their only hope was to stall the Japanese long enough for relief to arrive. Up on the ridges, the exhausted militiamen had been fighting for a month. They were near collapse when the compatriots arrived.
Oh, they looked like gods from the heavens. It was so good to see them. They'd been in training in Queensland. They'd come from the Middle East. They were brown, and they had a spring in their step, and they were going to show those little yellow bastards.
The Australians were alone and confronting a determined enemy.
They had a complete disregard of the loss of life, and so it was just a question of really mowing them down, trying killing them as quickly as they replaced it and put in another attack.
The militiamen and the AIF held the Japanese at bay for 4 crucial days. There was no more talk of chocolate soldiers.
They were gallant soldiers, they were good Australians. The word choco didn't enter our vocabulary at all.
But the combined force was still outgunned and outnumbered. There was scarcely time to bury the dead.
You can't do anything, you can't take time out. Think about it, things are happening so quickly. Deaths are occurring all around you. If you stopped, you'd lose. People know this. That's what war is, unfortunately.
Late one afternoon, as the rain and mist closed in, a young Australian officer was hit by Japanese gunfire. Butch Bissett and his brother Stan were among the many brave leaders of men on those mountains. Butch now lay bleeding on the side of the track.
Doc gave him an injection of morphine and had a good look at him, and he'd got a burst of machine gun fire through his tummy.
I saw Stan and Butch together with the doctor I said, how are things, Stan? He said, oh, Butcher's dying. I moved on. But I saw that Stan was visibly upset, as he has been and as or ever will be.
We just talked. He was unconscious at times, and other times he was good. You know, he knew I was there, and we held each other's hand, and we talked, quite a few about things from their mum and dad and their great days. At 4 o'clock he died, and from that time onwards we just had to carry on then with the day.
Nobody went to that war or any other, I suppose, that didn't get wounded mentally, if not physically. It wasn't possible.
The 39th had held the Japanese at bay for 2 weeks, when finally the first of Potts' men reached their trenches at Isurava. They were the 2nd 14th, like the 39th, also Victorians.
They looked healthy, they looked fit, and we were like scarecrows. We hadn't had anything much to eat for days. We'd been battle for day after day, and they arrived, as someone said, they're like gods.
Smoky Howson was more down to earth.
When they seen us, they said, "You poor bastards." We'd already worked out that the 39th had been sent in never to come out. So you can imagine our surprise when we saw fresh, fit, healthy human beings who handed around cigarettes and gave us drinks from water bottles.
The bond between the two armies formed instantly, and any disparagement of the militia, of the chocolate soldiers, disappeared straight away. There was no more talk of militia and AIF. This was a unified Australian army in their dugouts, ready to take on the Japanese.
1,700 Australians now faced 6,000 Japanese. The Australians were in a commanding position. The Australians came under increasing pressure, and there was a string of extraordinary last stands. More Allied decorations were awarded in this battle than in any other of the Pacific War.
A lot of them got through to our positions. So it was bayonet, rifle, anything. Terrible. If they charge at you with a bayonet, well, you give them the same treatment. Or if you can fire a shot into their gut, well and good. But that's what it is. Close in, bash, bash. It's frightening, really, but you don't feel it at the time. And, you want to live. And you want them to die.
Bruce Kingsbury was awarded the only VC of the Kokoda campaign. Kingsbury's platoon had been badly cut about, and he immediately volunteered to join another which had been ordered to counterattack. The unit diary records that Number 9 platoon was used to beat back the enemy, and it was during this attack that Private Kingsbury showed outstanding courage. His fellow soldiers recalled he charged forward shouting, "Follow me, we can turn them back." Now, his commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Roden, was in no doubt what that courage meant.
If he hadn't stopped them, it would have been like water, pouring through a hole in a dam wall. The 25th Brigade was still in the water, and the 16th Brigade was still in Australia. Without Kingsbury, the Japanese would have been waiting for them in Moresby.
Bruce Steele Kingsbury was 24 years old. It's hard to imagine standing in this beautiful little stand of trees what these men went through again and again. It's the physical endurance as much as the courage that takes your breath away. Firing his Bren gun from his hip, continuing to sweep enemy positions. Now this is in the jungle, in tropical heat, under heavy fire, firing a gun that weighs over 10 kilos.